Increased autonomy for the local government tier of administration and a state-based police are critical demands being made by certain segments of the Nigerian state. This school of thought shares the view that, among other things, the current dispensation denies a greater majority of Nigerians the basic right to call on agents of state to protect them from crime and all forms of criminality at all times. Well, joining us now for a quick chat is Bola Bakare, a former member of the Public Affairs Unit of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. So good to see you on Newsday. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you, my sisters. I'm glad to be here.
So I'd like you to speak to us, on the clamor for local government autonomy and then, of course, the Attorney General's lawsuit against the 36 states on the same issue.
Oh, thank you, my sisters. Honestly, Nigerians, we've been clamoring for this because our democracy says we have the state, the executive here in Lagos, we have in Abuja, we have the states, and then we have the local governments. And what is on ground, what is rife these days, is the call and the agitation for local governments to behave like local governments. But my school of thought says one thing, and that thing is, what is the basis for the creation of local governments? Is there any parity in the creation of local governments? Because if that is not taken care of, ab initio, we're going to have problems at the end of the day. Some states will come up saying, we are feeling cheated. We are being cheated. As it is, the states are managing the LGs because, for all I care, the LGs are not, personal opinion, are not substantive enough to be what they are. Reason being, what is the parameter for the creation of local governments? Is it by land space or is it by population? If we are talking democracy, it should be by population. Let me cite you some few instances. A state like Akwa Ibom, it has about, let's say, projected population about 2022 of about 5.4 million, has 31 local governments. Kwara State, with about 3.5 million, has 16. Adamawa, with about 4.9, has 21. Now, let me bring you to the core of the matter, the crux of the matter. Lagos State, with a population of 17.5 million as a 2022 projection, has 20 local governments. Kano State has 15.4 million with 44 local governments. If you remember, when Kano was bigger, before Jigawa was cut out of it, Kano and Lagos share the same population. But as we speak, Jigawa has been carved out of Kano, and Jigawa now has a population of 7.4 million and 27 local governments. You see, disparities like this and things we should not overlook. If we are going to cook, we make sure the oil, the salt, the vegetable, either fish or the beef, everything is ready before we go ahead and cook. If we go ahead and cook and there is no salt in it, when it gets to the table, somebody somewhere is going to say, oh, as nice as this thing is, there is no salt in it. What are the parameters? Because I can tell you for real, if you watch what is happening in those states, as much as the subnationals, the state governors are having a free hand, honestly, they are still managing those local governments. You will probably tell me, democracy says local government, they should perform on their own. Let me cite you an instance that happened sometime in Lagos when the Obasanjo administration was giving monies directly to the local government. There was a local government in Lagos. Let me keep the name out of it. The guy did not know what to do. All he did was to buy buses and put his name on it, that this is his own. Transportation is something everybody needs. And the thing is, there is need for us. I've seen a lot of local government chairmen. How will you give them money to go ahead and put in infrastructure? Some of them don't even have the aptitude to do that. Honestly, I can tell you that. I am a Nigerian. I'm a positive thinker. And I look at my people. I look at what they can deliver at any point in time. What the states are doing, if you watch some of the states, like Lagos is my state, if you watch some of the roads that are being done in Lagos, if you pass it on to local governments, for God's sake, some of them cannot do it. or they will mismanage it. If you go to some states in some other areas where it is far-flung, there are some roads that will probably need earth roads. There are some that will have what we call in engineering surface dressing, and there are some that will be the ideal road that is going to be a truncated road. These are things that need somebody with the aptitude to make it work. But the groundworks for having local government is for us to wait. Honestly, since democracy is about us human beings, it's for us to wait and have that parameter, the most important parameter of local government, which is the people. If we are going to agree that 500,000 people or maybe 100,000 people are going to make a local government, so be it, across board. Not some states with 3 million people having 30-something local governments, and some states with 20 million people, you give them 20. That disparity is not healthy. I am against unhealthy, totally unhealthy disparity.
Fair enough.
This is not a case of favoritism. This is a case of what should be. And it's something we should do. We should look at it and then deliberate about it. Because it has to go back to the National Assembly. And I hope the National Assembly is listening to this. The state houses of assembly have a say in here. But if you put your mind back to what Obasanjo did some time ago during his own regime, he shortchanged Lagos and said because Lagos divided itself for easy administration into 57, that is 20 local governments that is being identified by the center, and another 37 they call LCDAs for easy administration. The money of Lagos was withheld. That is history as we speak. But that shows that there is need to take administration, governance to the grassroots.
Yes.
And that is what local government stands for. And my bottom line is, let us wait for our census so that we can have the appropriate numbers that will determine the people that will make up a local government, and then we spread it all over Nigeria for even parity and healthy distribution of, in quote, national cake.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for that. But I also wanted to pick up on the question about your opinion of the Attorney General's lawsuit against the 36 states concerning this matter.
You see, it's important because, honestly, the subnationals, the states, the moment they pick up their monies in Abuja, they become lords, demigods in their states. Honestly, I can say that to any one of them's faces. They become demigods in their states. Like in the case of, we said the minimum wage was 30, from 18 to 30. Some states are not paying it. A lot of funds are being given to the states rather than the average Nigerian asking their governors, what are you doing at our funds? They are busy coming to Abuja to us. In a nutshell, what I'm saying is the governors are very, very, very strong-willed and they are demigods. And what the Attorney General is doing is making it plain and proper that I am not going to talk to you. Let the law talk to you. But what I'm saying is, my own opinion, because I've been around for close to 7 decades, I am a Nigerian, I was around before Nigeria was, what we should do is have appropriate numbers to appropriate things, and then let there be equality and equity when it comes to democracy in Nigeria. The IGF Fagbemi can go ahead because those subnationals, the state governors, are not easy to deal with. Let the law deal with them accordingly. Let the state houses of assembly, let them come into the picture, and then at the end of the day, we will have something that is good. But from my own angle, without a proper census, without the numbers of people you want to govern at the local government level, for God's sake, what is the parameter for forming local government? The ideal parameter is the number of people there, which should be the same across board all over the country.
Now, Mr. Bakare, I'm a bit confused, about your reply to my question.
Don't be.
Because it seems you have an issue with the way the local governments are constituted, which is understandable. But the topic we're discussing today is local government autonomy. Are you in support or are you against it? My dear, the idea, let's use an analogy that will make Nigerians relax a little bit. A grown man has a wish to be a married man and have kids and have his own family. I would like democracy to be ingrained at that level, at the lowest level of governance, which is the local government.
But my grouse is there has to be equity all over Nigeria, all over our nation. You don't apply 44 states to 44 LGs to a state and then another state that is at par with it in terms of population, you have 20 there. There are some things we inherited from the military, from the state's creation from 12 to 19, 19 to 20, 30, 36 to where we are today. They were all things done by the military at an instance where we had what we call military fiat. They say it as they want it, nobody queries it. But this is a democracy. We can afford to look at it and then say, oh, this is not right. Democracy allows us to rejig and reset. That rejigging, resetting is what I am asking for. Let us rejig and reset so that there will be parity in local governments. That is my bottom line.
Okay, previously you were talking about the powers that governors seem to have and the detriment that could lead to. What could be done legally speaking, in your opinion, in order to limit some of these emperor-like powers that they have if local government autonomy is looked into?
Honestly, the check and balances that state governors do have are the houses of assembly. Fortunately and unfortunately, most governors have the houses of assembly in their pockets. Because if they don't do that, the House of Assembly can just wake up one day and impeach them, and there they go out of office. You see, our politics is, I don't want to call our politics nascent, because a 20-something-year-old boy is probably out of university, is thinking of being a big guy or getting married. So it's no longer nascent for all I care. But the thing about them is, it is the people. Because democracy is about us. It's about you and I, the everyday people. What we do is they come to us, they sell us whatever they want to sell to us, we buy into it, they become governors, and that's the end of it. I usually tell people, when they are campaigning, they come to your houses. They know you by first name. But the moment they get there, that ends it. And in most cases, we as voters, the electorate, we mortgage our birthright for 4 years. All we do is, just give me the money, and then you can have my vote. It's high time we put a change to that. It's high time the powers that we've given to them, because we do not care. Honestly, our attitude has gone from being careless to being reckless. Because if you don't care about what happens to you from a man you put there by your vote, then you are in trouble. You are being reckless. And that is why I am particular about it, that it is us, as Nigerians, to look at them in the eye and tell them we don't want it. This shouldn't be happening. We have a right to do it. And honestly, we should do it on a regular basis.
Mr. Bakare, where do you stand on the issue of state police? Is Nigeria ready for this at this moment? Or are you worried, that the state governors, some of whom you say behave like demigods, might abuse state police, as some analysts have suggested?
My sister, that is one big, humongous situation on our hands. Just like I said earlier, state governors are demigods. Lately, you can see governors and deputy governors, they will go, this one is going with his own retinue of security, and the other governor is having this, and they are loggerheads. The same policeman from the same force, acting on what one man, Mr. Governor is saying and what Mr. Deputy Governor is saying. My sister, we've had instances in Nigeria. By the time a state governor handles the police force in that state and he commands the CP in that state, honestly, most of the governors will be gunning for a third term because they know that nobody is going to stop them. But one thing I do is, it is good to look at the problems and the challenges unearned. A normal man, a good thinking man, from my own perspective, should be able to think in terms of what are solutions we can look at. Lately, the IGP says Nigeria is not ripe for state police. I am totally in support of what he is saying. But the thing is, what do we do in that wise so that we can stem all this insecurity we're having here and there on state level? What I will say is this, and most people would not like it. Let us return every policeman to his state and his local government. If he's going to take bribe, let him go and take bribe from his cousin. If he's going to send somebody to jail, let him send his father to jail. You see, by the time you localize security, by the time you make security what everybody can see, something plain, the security will become something very easy. Look at situations, you bring a policeman who speaks a different language, puts him in a place where the language is totally different, and somebody who speaks the local language is there, sitting in front of him. He doesn't speak English. How is he going to take a statement? How is he going to listen to what really happened? If you end up writing a statement for him, honestly, you're going to write 51% something that is very, very wrong. But if you listen, if a man that is from your own village or from your own vicinity or from your own local government is listening to you, there are nuances in language. There are nuances in body language, which aids the element of security, which aids the element of intelligence gathering. If you and I, you're a Yoruba person, if you talk to me in Yoruba language, I will read between the lines. Even there are devils between the lines, I will see it. If you say to somebody who's not a Yoruba person, he wouldn't know what is really happening. So my advice is our first step towards state police is send every policeman back to his state and his local government. Honestly, they will become more forthright. Are you going to take bribe from your brother? No. Are you going to send your brother to jail based on trumped up charges? The answer is no. Are you going to hand out justice based on a situation that is not true because there was communication breakdown? You speak English, the man doesn't even understand English, you just write us something because you want to write him something. My solution to state policing is the first step we should do is send every policeman back to his state, and then they will become the first step of state policing. While we still keep the IGP in Abuja, let there still be that central command. Let there be that central command. It might be for a short period, maybe 4 years or whatever. Let there be that central command to hold it over them. The only thing we're shouting for in most cases is by the time there is something in the state and the governor calls in the CP will tell him, hold on, sir, I have to get clearance from Abuja. In this case, let there be clearance on hand. An immediate clearance that can take care of the insecurity on hand, as is. But for checks and balances, let us still maintain the federal, the IGP and force headquarters here in Abuja for a short while until we get ourselves together. As we speak, my sister, we haven't gotten ourselves together. We love power. We love ego. We're a bunch of ego trippers. If you give a state governor the state police, it will misuse it. That is us for you. It will misuse it. I'm not mincing words. It will misuse it. But let us go one step at a time. Let's bring out our own boys to go and manage their states. Let's see how they fare.
Well, on that note, we would like to thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Bola Bakare, the former member of the Public Affairs APC, PCC. Thank you for joining us on Newsday for this discussion.